Everyone thought this was harmless. People online even said it was safe. But what happened later that night nearly burned an entire house down. And the scariest part is how normal everything felt at the beginning. This happened in 2022. It was a regular evening, nothing unusual. Laundry had just finished, the house was quiet, and it felt like the day was finally slowing down. No stress, no panic, just the routine end of a normal day. The clothes were still wet, and I didn't feel like waiting hours for them to dry. It was cold outside, the room felt dry enough, and the space heater was already on. I remembered seeing people online talk about a faster drying trick. They said placing clothes near a space heater was fine as long as you were careful. Some even said they did it all the time without any problems. It sounded harmless. I didn't think twice about it. I placed the wet clothes directly on the heater, just to speed things up. The plan was simple: let them dry overnight, deal with them in the morning. At first, nothing happened. Everything looked normal. No sparks, no flames, no strange smells. The heater hummed quietly like it always did. The clothes just sat there, slowly drying. This is the part people don't think about. The moment when nothing seems wrong. That silence makes you feel safe. It makes you think you made a smart decision. But heat doesn't work instantly. It builds slowly, quietly. The fabric didn't dry evenly. One area stayed damp longer, trapping heat. The temperature kept rising without anyone noticing. There were no alarms, no warning sounds. Everyone in the house was asleep. Hours later, the fabric started to overheat. At first, it only produced a faint smell, something you could easily ignore if you were awake. Then, it began to smoke. Not thick smoke right away, just enough to slowly fill the room. Eventually, the fabric caught fire. I didn't wake up to flames. I woke up to the smell. Thick smoke in the air and a burning sensation in my throat. When I opened the door, the room was already filled with smoke. Flames were spreading from the heater to nearby objects. Panic set in instantly. There was no time to think, only to react. The fire spread faster than I expected. The heat was intense. The smoke made it hard to breathe. By the time help arrived, the fire was stopped before the entire house burned down. But the damage was already done. Walls were burned, furniture destroyed, and the room was completely unlivable. What makes this terrifying is how normal it all felt at the start. There were no bad intentions, no reckless behavior, at least not intentionally. Just impatience. Just wanting to save a little time. If I had waited for the clothes to dry naturally, none of this would have happened. If I had used a proper dryer, there wouldn't have been a fire at all. This wasn't caused by a storm, an accident, or bad luck. It was caused by a shortcut. One decision that felt harmless in the moment. One choice made out of convenience. One small shortcut with massive consequences. Would you ever think this was safe?